The Alchemist here. So I wanted to break down why I walked away from Christianity. When I would reread the Bible, there were certain texts that I thought were absolutely ridiculous. Deuteronomy 25:11:1. You can kill a woman if she seizes a man's private parts without his permission. If two men are fighting and the wife of one of them comes to rescue her husband from the assailant, and she reaches out and seizes him by his private parts, you shall cut off her hand. Show her no pity. Exodus 21:7-8. When a man sells his daughter as a slave, she will not be freed at the end of 6 years as the men are. If she does not please the man who bought her, he may allow her to be bought again. Yikes. Genesis 19:31-36. He talks about Lot and how his daughters and him had sex to have children. That's also incest? Seems a little bit of a yikes to me. When you read the Old Testament, there's countless stories about how Yahweh told his people to go kill and conquer different children of Israel and make people your slaves and to kill the women and children. If that God is the all-power, all-seeing, all-loving God, it's omnipresent, then why does it say he's jealous? Why does he have these people killing one another? When you look into today's society, you see this repetitive cycle of nonstop killing with the military. These wars that shouldn't even be fought anymore. People are fighting over religion and other things, and they say, oh, I'm a Christian, and they don't realize that they're literally a slave to this God that just wants to kill and conquer. And if you don't bow down before him, he'll smite you. And this to me does not sound like an all-loving, omnipresent God. So those were some very yabba dabba yikes first parts of why I started walking away. Then I started looking back into the ancient battle of Enki versus Enlil, which is in the Sumerian pantheon, and this is the first religion that we as a human civilization know about, which I believe there was ones that predate even that civilization. Their story, there's creator gods, and they wanted to come here to mine the planet for gold. And they had these other slaves that they made called the Ajiji, and they ended up retaliating and not wanting to be slaves anymore. And so eventually this alien race said, we need to make a new breed of being to be able to be our slaves. So the whole entire battle eventually comes down to Enki, who creates them, gives them knowledge of themselves, realizing that they are also gods and have that spark of divinity within, while this being Enlil wants them to just be slaves and to do as he says and to bow down before him, and they're nothing more than just basically meat sacks. So then there's this war that goes around this, which is wisdom, which you see this snake. So in other countries, when you look around the world, you see the snake as their symbol, and growing about wisdom, and you learn about that energy arts and finding out you have more divinity within. And then you have the eagle, which is more of this warlike, which is like the US. And it's all about having control and having that bloodshed. And it's this epic battle that goes all the way back to the beginning of time, where there's these two forces fighting each other back and forth, back and forth. And this battle has been reflected and been going on since then. And one's about really taking your human temple and your spirit and expanding it to its fullest. And the other one's to be subservient to all the gods. St. Patrick casting out the snakes in Ireland. It's not talking about he went there and looked underneath all the rocks and said, hey, little dudes, get out of here. It's talking about killing that wisdom and getting the people to stop that and killing people. And when you look at the Inquisition, if you were thinking anything outside of what the patriarch of the church would say, then you were demonized and you were to be burned at the stake and murdered. And it doesn't make much sense because nowadays medicine is in our everyday life. Learning about herbs and all those things, learning about the stars is in the everyday life. But if you live back then and were searching these type of things, trying to find different ways of healing, and you weren't just following the church's code, you were a witch, killed and burned. They have known about these occult sciences of different ways to cast spells and all this that they've been just holding within the Vatican, hiding all this information from us. And not only is the media where there's a left versus right war going on, there's different religions like Islam versus Christianity going on, which both serve a very, very dark God that just wants war and destruction and blood. And if you don't listen, like, if you don't follow their code, you'll just be killed. And I don't want anything to do with those beings. Not at all. That's not helping me grow at all. And as I was a Christian, I would find myself stuck in, I'm not worthy, I'm not great enough, I'm lacking something. And the path I'm on now with alchemy, with all these other beings I get to work with, as well as realizing what choices I make, I blame on myself. I take full responsibility instead of saying this being, that being, knowing that I have everything I need already within me. These old verses about going to different nations, killing other people, it just sounds like another bloodthirsty God I don't want to be under. The Crusades was a very bloody war, fought on one side you have for the Christian God and the other side for the Islam God. And it's just countless bloodshed that is so unneeded. And if either one of those gods cared about humanity, it wouldn't be talking about that. It'd be talking about peace. It'd be talking about advancement. The Tower of Babel, where that God of Judeo-Christianity divided all the humans apart because they were trying to become like God, which I believe that humans back then, I mean, let's look at the pyramids and the fact that how perfectly they are aligned, and how all society says they were just tombs, and that even though they were in the perfect places on these ley lines that are all around the world, these energy grids, they were placed there for a reason. These people had so much knowledge and information, and yet we say we're the advanced ones now, and yet everyone's worshiping a God that doesn't give a damn about them, and I think it's ridiculous. Now, I do love some angels, of course, but even their roots come from way before Christianity. Not only did Christianity take the old gods of the past, the pagan gods, and demonize them, but they also took different beings from Sumerian and then turned them into angels so they could make their own narrative so people would have to follow. Let's talk about the Catholic Mass, where the priest turns the wine into blood and the bread into flesh. Cannibalism? Yes, exactly. It's cannibalism. And it's absolutely disgusting. In my eyes, there's two paths. There's either one where you're trying to make your shape fit into the perfect cookie cutter of what a religion or a dogma wants you to be, and you try to shove your whole self and being into that, or one where you walk on your own, where you don't feel called to follow the same orders everyone else, where you don't just blindly follow other things that were just placed into your mind and saying that this is the only way to be. It's about unplugging that program and really taking a hold of who you are, which is a spiritual and divine being. And I find that walking like Christ-like is more of a state of being than worshiping this God. Jesus says in the Bible that we would do greater works than even he has done. And there's all these miracles that stated that he had done. And I believe that we, as magical beings, can do wonders beyond what we've read about that are most likely myths anyways, but that we're supposed to go out and go heal the sick. We're supposed to come as a human collective and have advancement and be able to take care of the planet and stop this bloodshed. To be able to cast miracles. And I believe magic is the key to all this. It's something that's been hidden, and they tried to burn the Library of Alexandria back in the past to try and hide more things from us. And then you have ISIS and such that are now destroying ancient monoliths and all this other stuff around the world. To just, once again, it's a privately funded organization to go destroy more of ancient history so we don't know where we came from. This whole entire game is about us being placed underneath the veil in darkness, to just follow the game, follow this political party, follow this religion, follow all this, become a slave, and then when you die, let your soul be recycled. And I personally will not be subjected to that. I will not hate myself. I will love myself. And I will set forth on doing everything in my power to be able to break away these slaves and shackles that are on our realities and making people just feel like they're not great enough. Look in the mirror and say you are an awesome person and you can do things beyond your imagination and unplug from that machine. The only hell is the one that you put yourself in. The only heaven is the only thing you put yourself in. Both realities are already here. So are you going to live in heaven or hell? And that right there is why I choose alchemy over any religion.